All right, everybody, get ready for another deep dive today. We are going to be talking about something I think we all could use a little more of in our lives, and that is inner beauty.
Mm.
We are diving deep into a transcript today, and it's from, get this, it's called Anna's Beauty Channel.
Okay.
So already I know we're like, okay, Beauty Channel, here we go.
Right.
But it's this video, and it's called The Beauty Within You. And it really, I mean, it goes way deeper than, your average makeup tutorial.
It does. It does. And it starts out right away by talking about this artist who's constantly comparing themselves to others and totally missing this masterpiece that they've created, which is their own self-portrait.
It's so true, right? Like how many of us are walking around like looking at everybody else thinking about like, oh, I wish I had that, or if only, like whatever it is, and we forget to even look at ourselves.
Yeah. And that's what this video is all about. Like, it's really saying that self-worth comes from like owning your journey and your story, not trying to fit into some mold that, society says we should be.
It's so much easier said than done though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
silencing that inner critic that's like, you're not good enough, you're not this enough, like that is hard work.
Yeah.
So how does this video even suggest we start to do that?
Well, they use this metaphor of your heart as a garden. So they're saying, like, imagine your heart is this, like, lush garden.
I'm picturing a Zen garden.
Okay.
Like, with the little rake and the sand and a little waterfall.
Absolutely. So in your garden, you've got these seeds, right? And those are, like, all the things, like your kindness, your resilience, your courage, all that good stuff.
But it's not about, like, achieving perfect serenity, is it?
Not at all. Not at all. It's about tending to the garden. It takes work. So the video talks about like how acknowledging your strengths, celebrating even your smallest wins, and forgiving yourself for, just being human. Those are the things that water those seeds, right? That help them grow.
Oh, man. I have let my garden get so full of weeds.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like sometimes I'm really good at letting those weeds, like, choke out all the good stuff. But, I mean, those weeds are part of what makes our garden unique, right?
Absolutely. The video talks about how our imperfections, those weeds, they're just reminders of what we've been through and what we've overcome. They tell our story.
Okay, so our gardens might be a little overgrown. We're working on it. But what about that voice? That one, the one that's like, yeah, but your garden's over there, like wilting in the shade while everybody else is like blooming in the sunshine. Like, how do we deal with that?
That's where self-love comes in. And I know that probably sounds kind of cheesy, like, oh, self-love, bubble baths, face masks.
Right.
And those things are great. But we're talking about, like, being the kind of friend to ourselves that we are to the people we love most.
It's so true. We would never, like, go up to our friends and be like, oh, my gosh, look at you with your terrible hair today. We would never.
We're never.
But we do that to ourselves all the time, like constantly.
Yeah, and it's crazy because when we can quiet that inner critic and really start to, accept ourselves, flaws and all, it's like those imperfections become like part of what makes us interesting,
Totally. Like, oh, yeah, that wonky sunflower over there. Yeah, that was from when I tried to grow my garden in a hurricane, but, it builds character.
Exactly. Like the video actually talks about how those imperfections are like badges of courage, that vulnerability isn't weakness, it's actually strength.
I like that.
Yeah, and it goes on to compare life to a symphony.
Okay.
So imagine, like, each of us is a different instrument, and we all have our own melody that we play.
Okay.
Right. And some of those melodies are going to be, like, really loud and bold, and others are going to be quieter and more subtle, but each one is important to the symphony as a whole.
Okay, I like this. So it's not about being like the loudest trumpet or like the flashiest violin.
Right.
It's about like whatever your thing is, like you're bringing that to the orchestra.
Yeah, exactly. And if we were all the same, it would be a very boring orchestra.
Right. Talk about a bland symphony.
Exactly. So when you really think about it, like embracing your individuality, like what the video is calling our melody, it's like really recognizing that we all have something special to offer, that we all matter.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that we should share that with the world, even if it's a little rough around the edges, it's okay. And that leads into something else the video talked about, which is that this journey of self-discovery isn't like a one-time thing. You do it and then you're done. It's an ongoing process.
Oh, tell me about it. Like some days I wake up and I feel like, I'm a majestic grand piano.
Right.
And other days I'm like, I'm a rusty triangle.
And that's okay. We're all works in progress.
So we're never really finished, are we? We're always a work in progress, always growing and changing.
Exactly. And I think that's kind of exciting, you know?
Yeah, no, it is. It's freeing. It's like we don't have to
Well,
have it all figured out. We're
yeah.
all just kind of like, rough drafts.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of it. But
Yeah.
this video, it wasn't all just like metaphors and stuff. It actually had some concrete things we can do to, tend to those gardens of ours.
Oh, yeah, 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 totally. Like, what were some of the things that it mentioned? Because I know we were talking about gratitude earlier.
Yes, gratitude is a big one. Like taking time each day to really appreciate even just like the small things.
It's huge because I know for me, like when I'm, feeling in a negative headspace, it's usually because I'm like hyper focused on everything that's wrong. And I'm
Yeah.
totally missing all the things that are good.
Exactly. Like you forget about them.
Yeah.
And the video even talks about like writing it down, making a gratitude journal or something.
Totally, totally.
Mm.
I'm a big believer in writing things down. Like
Yeah.
there's something about it, I don't know. When you can see it, it makes it more real.
Absolutely.
So gratitude, that's a good one. What else? What else we got?
Surrounding yourself with like positive people.
Oh, that's a big one.
Right. Like think about the people that you're spending time with. Are they like lifting you up or are they kind of like dragging you down?
It's like that thing, like you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with most.
Exactly. And I think it's important to say, like, it's not about abandoning your friends if they're going through a hard time,
Right.
but just being mindful of, like, the energy that we're, surrounding ourselves with.
Absolutely.
And also setting boundaries,
Yes.
saying no to things that, like, drain us and yes to the things that light us up.
It's all connected, isn't it? Like, how we talk to ourselves, the people we're around, the boundaries we set or don't set. It's all part of this, like, inner beauty, self-love thing.
It is. It's like a lifestyle shift, really. Like you're making a commitment to being kind to yourself and showing up for yourself.
Yeah. So as we're kind of, coming to the end of our deep dive here, like what is the one thing, if you had to pick one thing that you want our listeners to take away from this whole conversation about inner beauty?
For me, I think it's really just that reminder that true beauty, it's not about striving for some like perfect image.
Yeah.
It's about embracing who you are right here, right now, flaws and all. Like we're all just works in progress, and that's okay.
I love that. And, to kind of wrap things up on that note, I think we could all use a little more self-compassion, a little more grace with ourselves as we, figure this all out. So give yourself permission to bloom, in your own time, in your own way. And on that note, that is another deep dive in the books. See you guys next time.